So please welcome Mr. Mangesh Desai, who will without a doubt inspire you through the magic of his hands and mind.
Good morning.
Good morning.
He said good morning, everybody. Okay, there's a clicker problem. No, it's okay, it's okay. I understand technology. So before we begin, I'm Mangesh, as they said, I'm an illusionist, mentalist. For past more than 22 years I've been performing, and I've realized one thing. What we use, what we do, what the principle that we use to do magic can be applied to anything in life to make life better. In short, I could say you can add magic to your life with the things I'm going to tell you. So where magic happens, that's what I'm going to talk about today. When I say where magic happens, the first thing I'm going to do is show you some magic, because I do understand people expect that from me. What is this? A newspaper. What I'm going to do now is absolutely not really happening. Okay? Now you'll actually see and hear a paper being torn. How many of you agree that I actually tore the paper? Hey, fooled you. If I really tore the paper, it would look like I am making many, many pieces. 32 to be precise. Right? But as I told you, I never really tore the paper. It was always one. And since I'm a mentalist, I have to do something with the mind. I was going to actually call somebody on stage and do this, but I am not, because we don't have much time. So I just hold it myself at this point of time. I just need someone to, ma'am, I would like you to point to someone so that it's quite random. Just anyone. You can just stand there. What's your name? Manan. I have no idea why you're clapping. That's a very regular name, Manan. So, Manan, I'm going to tell you, I want you to choose a color, okay? Now, before we go ahead, this pack has one special card. We'll get to that later, but first, I want you to choose a color, okay? Red or black, black or red. Say it. Red, good. Manan, point to someone, just somebody who you do not know. Okay, you tell them whom you're pointing to, because they wouldn't know. What? Sorry? The kid. Okay, the kid. What's your name? Tanmay? Sanay. Okay, Sanay. Okay. So he said, you said red. Did you say red? Yeah. He said red. So you have two choices: hearts or diamonds. Hearts or diamonds. Which one would you choose? Diamonds. Okay, expensive kid. Oh, we'll come back to Principal Ma'am. I have not told you before this what to say, right? We have no setup. This is the first time I'm going to ask you to choose a card between ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, king, queen, or jack. Name one. Queen of diamonds. I would like to tell you that it is a very, very common card to choose, queen, because queen, ace, king, quite common. Do you want to change your choice, or you want to go with the queen? Queen of diamonds is your choice. Now, in this pack, you have absolutely no idea what is so special. I got a big pack so that everybody can see, and also because I cannot do much of any slides with this. So if you watch this pack of cards, all the cards are facing the same side, right? Oh, except one card, this one. Red, diamond, queen. So what is magic for you people? What is magic? What is magic? When I say magic, what does come to your mind? If this could work, this could be magic. Illusion, okay, that's another word for magic. What else? Harry Potter, okay, that is not magic at all. It is fiction, okay? Magicians don't do such thing. We don't have such problems in our family. So, no. So basically things happening by itself, as I did, right? Something that just happens, that's magic. Impossible becoming possible, that's magic. Okay, I'd like to tell you more about magic. You know, people often believe magic is just like any other art. It is not. When you talk about dancing or singing, I call it the passive art because that's what you can practice alone and you know how good you are becoming because you can judge yourself. In magic, you cannot because magic needs a spectator. That's the reason I've been teaching celebrity and their kids because they understand that the development of the kids happen way better with magic than any other art because you have to understand if magic worked for the person sitting or watching. So although you can practice alone, you cannot be sure that you are good. So it's an active art. It is two-way. Also, magic is used to show something best of the best. Like you would say, Zakir Hussain has magic in his fingers because he's the best tabla player. Michael Jackson had magic in his performance because he was one of the best performers. So basically, we also use magic. So when you say magic, it has so many more meanings than what we usually just think. But every time we say that, we don't realize it. Anyway, so how does it work? How did I become so good, or how did I come here, or how did I reach here? So firstly, I think the most important part about any success, or even for magic, I think, is a clicker working. Oh, it sleeps, okay. So basically, okay, I'll do that. First impression. When I say first impression, what comes to your mind? When you meet someone, when you greet someone, when you see someone for the first time? Not really. Like before you came here, like many of you people have come here. Why? Why did it interest you to come here? Is it because I'm so nice? No, because it's a TED talk. And the moment you hear TED, you associate it with worth your time talks, correct? That's what. So TED already has a first impression. The moment you hear TED talk, worth your time. So when does it happen? When does the first impression happen? People often think when you personally meet someone. No, I think the first impression happens when someone hears about you, when someone gets some information about you. For example, we have an actor here, sitting here. I think his web series were more famous with word of mouth than watching a trailer. Do you agree? Yes. It's only when people tell you that it's good, you go to watch it or put your time into it. So I still think word of mouth is the king, irrespective of all the social media, all the things that we have. I still think word of mouth is where the first impression is made. The first time when you hear about someone, when someone tells you, oh, this guy is good, or this company gives you good service, that's the time your impression has already started. For me, when people pick up, they watch an ad on hoarding, or they have the ticket in their hand, that's the time they realize, okay, is this show good or not? They make the impression then and there. And I think that first impression makes a big difference on what their approach is going to be with you when they first meet you personally. Now, what happens when you meet someone? When you meet someone, the first thing they notice is your energy, correct? So when I came on stage, did you see me coming on stage? Okay, so just imagine if I had come on stage like this. Good morning. You instantly don't like me, right? So before I come on stage, I have to warm up myself backstage because I've been sitting for a long time. So I think the same can go for any one of you when you're going to meet someone. If you just get yourself ready and go with that energy and say, hello, it gives, of course, not that loud, unless the person is like that, but you have the energy, you show the interest to the person, then the person shows interest back to you. I think I'm not going to give you some very big jargons because that's not what I believe in. Very simple stuff. I think this is what works, the simple stuff, but you do give it some attention. So one is that. Second is attitude. It always depends, we make an impression of a person before you start talking to them, looking at them, correct? The moment you see how they are dressed, how they look, how they walk, whatever, we already make an impression. We have to stop doing that. We have to see their energy before they, although we dress well, but when you go to meet people, don't make an impression, don't get the impression before they speak to you. So I think that's one thing. So because that would change your attitude and that would change their attitude, it's reciprocal. Then approach. Approach is, again, what you have in mind. Third, I think we often don't listen. So listening is very important when you meet someone for the first time. I think that's what people miss. And secondly, after all of these things, what is important is, it's better to be overdressed. It literally is what I mean, but also when I say better to be overdressed, I'm just not talking about being dressed, I'm also talking about being prepared for anything that you're going to do. For example, this guy.
Do ya? Punks?
Have you seen this scene in the Mask movie? Okay, if you remember this scene, you would see what happens. He takes out so many guns and then just bang, 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 bang. So just being prepared to shoot at them, the villains are gone. They just ran away. So when I say this, I mean to say with anything that you're doing, like for example, this thing was made, we always underestimate the requirements than we need, always. So I would say we should always have more resources than required. We always believe, very usual thing nowadays, usually what happens is, where are you? Oh, I'm just reaching. No, you're not, you're still at home. Well, the reason is because you did not make the requirement of leaving on time, reaching on time, the traffic, the rains, etc., etc., etc. That's the reason you're not on time. So I think if you prepare, but now the question is, how would you know what all the requirements are going to be? For that, we have a very, very nice technique by Gary Klein called pre-mortem. See, anytime I'm going for a show, what usually happens is, just before I go on stage, which I've been told is for 15 minutes, they would tell me, okay, it's 30 minutes because the next performer is late. Well, if I've prepared for 15 minutes before coming on stage, I cannot make it 30 unless I am prepared for the entire 30 minutes. So that's what we do. We always prepare for more. Correct? So only then will how do I know this? Pre-mortem. Pre-mortem is basically like post-mortem, but it's an imaginary death of a goal, target, task, deal, etc. So basically what you do in pre-mortem is, you imagine that you have failed. You have actually failed what you're going to do. And then one by one, you start thinking, imagining the reasons why you failed. Maybe this, maybe that. And that's how, when you actually do that thing, you have covered all these errors, all these problems before you do. I think you can look up more about pre-mortem. There's a lot by Dr. Gary Klein. And it really helps make things much easier when you do them. The good, the bad, and the stress. We usually say stress is bad, correct? But many times stress is good. Like today we are here early morning. We are up early because we had stress about waking up early morning. That's why we could wake up, otherwise we would still be sleeping and not being on time. But at the same time, too much stress is not good. What happens in stress? What is stress? Anyone? Ma'am, what happens in stress? Sorry? Mental process which disturbs you. Correct. But why does it disturb you? Well, let's go back to when stress started. Oh, before that, I will tell you a story. Yes. You know this guy in my building, living on 7th floor? One day he had an important meeting. Okay? Important meeting late. He comes out of his house, the lift or elevator for people outside India. The elevator is not working, and it's 7th floor. So he runs down, sweating, goes to his car. Oh, he forgot the key. So he shouts, "Wife, throw the key." She throws the key. Oh, no cell phone. Throw the cell phone. Throw, what is left? Key, cell phone, wallet. Okay, she throws everything down. Unfortunately, the cell phone, before he can catch, it falls down, crashes the screen. Now he's like, "Oh, don't throw anything else. I'll come up." He goes jogging up. So he asks her, "Anything left?" She says, "Yes." And he runs up. He runs up. What's left? Handkerchief. Well, what happened here is, because of the stress, you did not, instead of waiting for that extra 5 seconds and asking what is left and getting the answer, handkerchief, you actually ran back up. Why does this happen? Because of cortisol. So what is cortisol? I think 100,000 years ago when we were living in the jungle, you know, in packs and stuff, what used to happen is, if you think there's a predator, if you think some noise, maybe a lion, there are two responses, flight or fight. Correct? Flight is when you run, fight is when you actually get ready to fight with the predator. So what happened in evolution is, because you just needed to either have physical strength to run or to fight, everything else in your mind was blocked. And it still happens when you get stressed. So stress is a feeling of danger, unconsciously. So when you get that danger, everything else stops and you're only ready to run or fight, which we do not need nowadays. Physically, we don't need to fight. Physically, we don't need to run when you are stressed. But the response is same, and that's why this happens. The solution is very simple. We already have it. In this world, it's called stress management, but it could be as simple as meditation, music, hobbies. How many of you do yoga here? How many? Or the rest of them wake up in the morning, watch the TV. Tomorrow, kal karenge. Okay, let's try this. I have a very, very quick refresher. Okay, let's try this. Keep your hand like this, everyone. Keep your hand like this. If you have anything in your hand, keep it down. Keep your hand like this, everyone, okay? Turn it around. Okay, left or right. Left or right. Bring it together. Club it together. Thumb out. At the count of 3, do as I do. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we have the conventional systems of meditation, music, hobbies, yoga. But nowadays we also have, which I'm sure many people know, we have apps, gadgets, mind you. Have you heard of apps that actually can reduce your stress? Have you heard of it? None of you? Okay, I don't want to advertise, but there are a lot of apps which actually help. People have reviews on YouTube and stuff where they actually tell you how it changed their life. There are apps, there are gadgets which actually are, people actually feel when it's gadgets or apps or something, it is out of nature. It's not. Everything is inside the nature. Everything that's inside the universe, I think is inside the nature. So there are apps, there are gadgets, and there are mind gyms. A very new thing, mind gym, where they actually train your mind to be calm using machines. So again, the answer is simple, but you have to give time to it. Like the earlier speaker, I think, the doctor, when he said that we have to go to the root cause and start doing ourselves, I think this is what we have to do ourselves. I can go more deep into all the points that are used, like we live in denial, that's the reason. We have false memories, we are trapped in the digital world, the social media, which keeps feeding you wrong information. We have fake news and stuff. We have mental fogs due to being on the phone for a long time, losing our attention. But I feel there's one thing, if you really, really do, you will achieve all of these things on its own. Like, you will actually create magic, you'll actually reach from your concept to the conclusion if you just have one thing which will put all these things in place. And I think that thing is to care. I believe magic happens where you care. The moment you start caring about anything, I believe you find the right things to do, you find the right resources, you find the right time to do it. As William James said, if you care enough for a result, you will most certainly attain it. I think the best example we always have is our mothers. When I look at my mom, I realize I don't understand how she could manage so many things in this world to raise us, the kids. And then I look, it's only because she cared so much. So I think if you care, magic happens there. Thank you. I'm Mangesh. Thank you.